Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of How to Rip. In today's video, we're going to do things differently, and we're going to teach surfing from a different perspective, making things clearer for all you beginners out there. So, let's go. So when it comes to choosing an appropriate board to learn on, I'm gonna say go for something that's long, wide and thick, 8 foot, 9 foot long. Now obviously depending on how tall you are and how much you weigh, you may need to go a little bit bigger. So if you weigh more or if you're taller than the average person, I'd recommend going to the longer end of that scale. However, if you're a little bit shorter and weigh a bit less, then you can afford to go for something a bit smaller. Also, we need a leg rope attached. They attach to this string in the surfboard. And when you actually put the leg rope on, which happens at the beach, just before you enter the water, you want to make sure it goes on your back leg and that the leg rope is pointing away from the surfboard. This will reduce the chance of that leg rope getting tangled up in your feet when you take off. Some other things to remember is that your surfboard needs fins in it. So make sure they're in it, and if you're unsure, speak to your local surf shop. Let's have a look at paddling. Where do we actually sit? Well, from this point of view, we can see what happens if we get things wrong. Firstly, we want our weight to be distributed evenly on that board. If we're too far back, you can see the nose is up in the sky like this, which will make it really hard to catch waves. If we go too far the other way, you can see that the nose goes under the water. This is going to make us nosedive and struggle. If we're too far to the left or the right with our weight, you can see that the board will tip us off either side. So we want our weight to be in the middle of that stringer. Make sure the line in the middle of the surfboard, which is called the stringer, goes in between your chest. If you stay centered there, you make your life a lot easier. The next thing we need to consider is our beach selection. We want to select a place that is safe for beginners to learn on. So we're looking for a sand bottom break with waves that are breaking reasonably close to shore so that you don't have to go out too far in those early stages. Once we actually get to the sand, let's practice warming up for our pop-up. So draw the outline of a surfboard. It doesn't have to be that accurate, as you can see. Make sure you put in a stringer as well so you can keep centered. From here, get down, practice your paddling, then lift your chest. Hands on the deck, lift the chest. That creates room for your legs to come through. And then practice the pop-up. Initially go a little bit slower, but what we want is one clean movement. This will make the pop-up much easier and increase your chances of success. What we want to avoid is going to our knees first. We want to try and get up to our feet. Now once we get out into the surf, you don't actually need to paddle. You might be able to just get out there by walking, because initially about waist deep is all you really need to do. And this takes away the fear of being out too far for some people. On our way out, we want the nose facing the sea. We can lift the nose up to let oncoming waves go underneath. That's an easy way to negotiate. Another option we have is to do a turtle roll, where we roll the board like this, pull the board in tight to your body, allowing the wave to roll over you. This can take some practice to get right. What we don't want to do is bail our board like this. It's incredibly dangerous for those around us. Another option we have is to sit back on the board, lifting that nose, and as the wave hits the bottom of your board, you push yourself up so your chest moves up onto the board. This can take some practice to get right. Once you make your way out to where you're comfortable, this is what we want. We want a wave like this. You can see that it's a broken wave, so we want that white fluffy stuff, which is called white water. We then turn around, pointing our nose to the beach, get set in our paddling position, and then paddle hard. We want to generate as much speed as we can. Then once we feel like we've got the wave and we can feel it pushing us along, we can stop paddling and just enjoy the ride on our bellies. This is good practice initially. It gets us comfortable actually catching a wave. Once you've done this enough times, then it's time to go for the pop-up. Everything's the same. Once we feel that the wave's caught us, we pop up, just like we practiced on the beach. It's going to take some practice to get this right, but we've got to make sure we give ourselves opportunity. Practice, practice, practice. The more times you practice, even though you might fall initially, the better you're going to get at this. Once we actually pop up to our feet, initially we want to look towards the beach, point towards the beach, and stay in a semi sort of squat position. We don't want to stand too tall because that will actually reduce our balance. But if we squat too low, it's going to be really uncomfortable and it's unnecessary. So we want a middle ground. Now as you start to improve, you can start to paddle for waves that are unbroken like this. The key here though is that you have to pop up quickly. If you're too slow, you'll nosedive, much like this. The secret to avoiding that nosedive is paddling harder and for longer than you think you need to. And check out this example here. You can see that I've spotted the oncoming wave as unbroken. I've turned around, I've given myself heaps of time so that I can generate speed in my paddling. I'm paddling hard. I don't stop until I can feel that I've generated enough speed to pop up and take off and go for it. Another thing to consider is your feet positioning and where they are. And it's very similar to paddling. You can see here that we want my foot to be in the middle of the stringer. You want your foot to be placed like this on an angle. As we start to progress and we're comfortable catching the unbroken waves, now it's time to paddle into these waves on an angle like this. By doing that, I can take off and ride along the wave. And this is the next step, and it really takes surfing to the next level. You'll find you have a lot more fun, and it's quite simple. You just look where you want to go. Look and point, and it's that easy to change direction. You can even practice that skill when you're catching the whitewater. Let's have a look at an example of where we put everything we've learnt together. By this stage, I'm comfortable catching the whitewater and I'm comfortable catching an unbroken wave. I've spotted the wave I want and I'm paddling hard. On an angle, I know that the wave's breaking towards the right, so I'm paddling that way. I take off, I'm trying to stay mid-face on that wave. You can see I'm not too high on the wave, I'm not too low. This will allow me to maintain a consistent speed for the duration of that wave. And once you get to this stage and you're comfortable here, you open up a whole new world of possibility where we can start to introduce some turns. Guys, thanks for watching the video today. I hope that now you've got a clearer understanding of how you can actually learn to surf and the things you need to look out for and focus on. Remember to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and comment below to let us know what other videos you'd like to see.